I ended up picking up a Desert Patrol Jeep, and there was a problem with the windshield. It had this sort of discoloration, and it almost looked like plastic melts on it. So as you can see in the picture here, what it looked like, I was kind of disappointed. So I thought I would try and see if there's any way to sort of fix that. And so I have two products that I used. One of them being Turtle Wax, a lens restorer, which comes with a bunch of little sort of wet sand pads and a paste and there's a lens lubricant that they call it, but it's basically just rubbing alcohol. So what I did initially is I actually used rubbing alcohol to try and see if the damage that was on the windshield wasn't just residual glue from tape or anything of that nature. And disappointed to see that it didn't. The other product that I also used was Star Bright's scratch remover and rubbing compound for paint jobs and such. And so I used between the two because the Turtle Wax does come with those little pads, as I mentioned, but I didn't like the idea of scratching it up more than it already was. So I figured I'll just sort of buff it out from what it is. And so as you can see how fast I work over here is that I used, between the two products, I sort of played with it. And every now and then I would clean it off with the rubbing alcohol to just sort of get a real quick, clean shot at it to see what it looked like. I would sort of, scope it out and see what it was. And basically just rubbing in circles. I have a terry cloth towel that I was using to apply it, and then rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. And a good amount of time went by, actually. It's not as quick as it looks. And so I ended up doing that, and then I buff it out, clean it out with you remove the paste after. I would actually rub it until you wouldn't even see the paste anymore, and then after that I would sort of clean it off with the cotton cloth there, which is basically an old sweat sock. It's clean, but it's still an old sweat sock. Just sort of buffing it out completely, and it seemed to have turned out rather well. As you can see in the picture, the passenger side is great. There's just a sort of like a hairline wave, I guess I would still that still remains, sort of like when you buff out a melt or whatever. But here's the video of it, and you can see it. And yeah, there you go. Just when the light passes, you can just sort of see that sort of waver in it. And the passenger side is much more daunting. It's a much more damage caused to it, as you can see in the photo right here. So I used initially the Starbright compound much more because I really can't tell you that one is more abrasive than the other. I just kind of feel that it was. So I would do the Starbright, and then I would sort of play between the two of them. So I'd use the Starbright, and then I would use the Turtle Wax product to try and clean it out. And get a good little paste going on there, and rub it and buff it out afterwards. And in the end, I ended up doing this also on a helicopter windshield, and that worked out really well. But I had initially used the sandpaper that came with it, and I was not pleased. Here you can see how nice the windshield actually did turn out. You could see the G.I. Joes on the other side. It's just it was a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. Have fun.